In today's video, I am going to be talking to you about why the point guard position is the hardest position to play in basketball. Let's get down to it. Now, the reason why the point guard position is the hardest, actually there's a lot of reasons. There's probably 40, 50 different reasons why it's the hardest, but I'm going to be picking out the reasons why I think the point guard position is the ridiculously hardest position to actually play. However, really quickly, if you want to be able to shoot the ball from distance a lot better, make sure to go check out my hardest shooting workout down in the description below. But when we're talking about the point guard position, that's the guy who's playing at the point, literally right at the top of the key. He's going to be able to see the whole entire court. And at this point, we really need to think to ourselves, okay, well, first off, what play do we need to run? What type of defense is the defense running? Are they running a zone? Do we need to run our zone offense? Do we need to run something like a 5-out to be able to spread that zone so that we can get some cutters down the lanes? Things like that. So first off, you need to think on the fly. You need to be like, okay, well, let's run horns or whatever it may be. And you really need to be the captain and leader on the court. You can't just be coming down and saying, yep, horns one. Yep, okay, let's run this. Because your teammates may not be in the right positions. So, for example, you need to know every single position on the court. Whether you're running your horns offense, your 5-out, your 4-out, whatever it may be, you need to know every single position. The low post position, the point, the wing, the corner. You need to know where everybody is supposed to be and where they need to be. Because at that point, you can say, hey, Johnny, get over here, let's go. Okay, now we can run this play. And if you don't know every single play, then at that point, you're not going to be a very good point guard. So when you get to the high school level, you're generally, if you're at a higher level high school team, you're usually somewhere in between 15 and 30 basketball plays. My high school team, we ran 7 that technically could turn into about 20, depending on the situations that they were in. And from there, you really need to be really smart. When you get to the next level, the college, university level, you're generally looking at 50 to 75 basketball plays that you would be knowing and needing to learn every position for. And then, of course, when you get to the pros, if you are lucky enough to get that far, you would then be looking at maybe 100 to 150 different plays and knowing every single one where every single player needs to be. I'm going to give you a really good example. The AAU team that I coach, the US travel team because I'm Canadian. Basically, my starting point guard is basically me on the court. He has the same thought process, he has the same work ethic, and he also has the same mindset as to which plays to call out. And he also is a very calm player who doesn't get stressed when he starts getting pressured, and he doesn't turn over the ball very often. That's extremely hard to do. Becoming basically a coach on the court means that you're doing a lot of research on what defenses look like. You're doing a lot of research as to what the coach wants you to do. You're in the coach's ear over and over and over again. He's literally taking me aside in practice saying, hey, what do you think I should do in this situation that I was just put in? I was thinking this, what do you think? And things like that. And when you've got a point guard as a coach, you've got a point guard who wants to become better, who's working his butt off and really asking you what he should do in certain situations, he's really trying to become a coach on the court. And to me, that's very valuable. Now, when it comes to the point guard position, when you are playing the point guard position, guess what? That's at the pro level, generally around 6'4" and under, right? So you could be a 5'8" point guard. Maybe not at the NBA level. There are some players who have made it who were 5'3" like Muggsy Bogues, but generally speaking, 6'4" and under, general average is around 6'1", 6'2". And at that point, you're coming up to the point, and there's a few different things you have to remember. And that is, there's pretty much everybody in the entire world who's under 6'4". There's very, very few people in the entire world who are over 6'4". And that's gonna be the competitive side where you need to know that, okay, well, let's say I'm in high school, I'm coming up to the point, and now I need to be not just thinking pass, shoot, or drive, or dribble, because at the pro level, or even at the college level, every single point guard can shoot the ball at a high level. Every single point guard can jack up a shot at generally 33 or 34% or higher. Generally, every point guard is going to be able to evade the defense to keep that ball away. And guess what? Every single point guard at that level can pass the ball at a competent level. You need to bring something different to the table. You can't just be a point guard who can pass, shoot, and dribble, because once you get to that college level, everyone can do that. You need to bring something different. And that's the hardest part, in my opinion, of the point guard position. You have to be different. Obviously, if you're a 7-foot player, you need to be powerful. Today you need to shoot, but like right now for the point guard position, everybody, even 6'9" guys, can do what a point guard can do. So you need to bring something different to the table, and you can't just be your regular. Okay, well, I'm going to come down. I'm wide open. I'm going to jack this three. Okay, well, I got a good pass here. I hit that perfectly. Let's screen away. Whatever that may be, you can't just be your average player. So some things that helped me get to that Erie Bayhawks team was my defense. Not many people at the point guard position are 6'2", and my playing weight was 220 pounds. You're not really going to be able to get by me, and I could guard some of the centers who were trying to post me up. And then when it comes to the offensive side, if there's a point guard here guarding me, I'm 6'2", 220 at the time, and he's probably 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2" in that range, and he's 170, 180 pounds, skinny. Well, guess what? I got 40, 50 pounds on that guy. And generally speaking, back then, it was a bit more muscle than what I got today. And there was nothing that guy could do. One dribble, and I'm getting by that guy, and I don't care if he's faster because I'm going to go through him. So that's what made me, or allowed me, to get to that level, plus the ability I was shooting. That's actually the original reason why that coach chose me. But either way, I was able to do those two things differently than everybody else, and that's what allowed me to get to that level. Now, my last point, and this is going to be a serious point because this is what happened to me, and I'm not going to talk about my injury. What I'm going to talk about is basically I was 6 feet tall in grade 6. I was a center. I was not allowed to leave the low post. I wasn't allowed to take a shot outside of the key. I had to stay in the low post or in the key. If I took a shot outside of the key, I was benched. Now, of course, some coaches have changed. I personally like my centers taking threes. However, some coaches still haven't. And whether you're with a coach who doesn't want you to shoot from outside, or whether you're with a coach who doesn't want you to dribble, I still want you, if you're young, to take that ball and work on your handles, because what's going to happen is you're going to stop growing. If you're lucky, you'll become that 6'8", 6'10", 7-foot player. If you're lucky, I wasn't. I grew to 6 feet tall in grade 6, and I stopped growing at 6'2". Which means that in grade 11, grade 10, grade 11, I had to reorganize my game into being a point guard. I went from center to point guard. I went from never handling the ball to handling the ball. And that's a very difficult transition. And that's what a lot of players will actually face themselves. Because what happens in basketball is there's a lot of kids who will make the team because they grew fast and early, and then they kind of trail off, and these short little kids who eventually start growing will then surpass them. If you're tall, you may not always be tall. I'm not saying that you're not going to be 7 feet, but you may not always be there. And if you can train an all-around game at your youngest level, whether you're 6 years old, 10 years old, or 14 years old, or even 18 years old, if you can practice every position, your ball handling, your shooting, driving, shooting off the dribble, things like that, if you can do that at a young level or a young age, it doesn't matter when you become 20 what position you play, because now you know all the skills needed. I hope that this video has helped you. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.